Charley Kiss, athletic director. Charley, CharleyKiss. Yeah, I've been walking in these hallways for a long time. Absent a few years in college where I graduated from St. Vincent College out in Latrobe, I've been here for about 20 years. And, overall, I don't know how many years that ends up being, but walk the halls of these schools. Things were a little different then. The composition of the building was a little different. The facilities were a little different. But I've been here for a long time, and I've experienced a lot of the great things that this place has to offer, and also experienced a lot of negative things that come associated with being an athletic director at McKeesport. Yeah, so we bring an edge with us every day when we come here to work. I can't speak for a lot of other people, but myself, I have a passion and an energy for the athletics program here. As being a former player, a former three-sport athlete, letter winner as a senior, all-conference performer in baseball and football, I've been there and done that. And you'd like to think that you have some passion and some energy for what you've become, giving back to the kids, giving back to the community. And now the only thing you have left to do is to try to help the teams excel, to help the teams move through their seasons with success and honor, respect and dignity. And that's what drives me every day. A lot of times McKeesport isn't really viewed by the outside community very favorably. That also kind of lights a little fire inside of me. There's a lot of great things that happen here. You can't convince a lot of people that. When we're running through a tournament in the postseason and we have a great team, sometimes you feel the deck stacked against you. But that's what makes it all the while more fulfilling. It's a fulfilling accomplishment in 2005 to be affiliated with the state champion, Pennsylvania state champion in 4A. That was one of my first years here, and it was such a gratifying accomplishment for the school, the community, the everybody associated with it. And it's kind of a "I told you so" moment for those people that don't believe that there are good things that happen here. Yeah, so I bring a passion and an edge with me every day when I come here. It's being a former three-sport athlete, all-conference performer in football and baseball. Those are the things that drive me every day, to provide the students today with the same opportunities that I had when I was coming through school here as a Tiger. It's so gratifying to have a large role in the success of our student athletes. We're not viewed by many from outside the community as a place that has a lot of great things that happen. You turn on the news, you read on the internet about some negative things that happen in this community, and it kind of drives you even further. When you're in the midst of a tournament run and it's McKeesport, it's not, they're not going to do anything. It's, I kind of forget where I was at, when I was talking with that just a moment ago, but it's kind of an "I told you so" moment. We were 2005 state champions, and, you got a chance to prove everybody wrong. But you don't just look for that fulfillment whenever you win a championship. You look for that fulfillment within every sport and every year as an athletic director. You want your teams to go out and represent the community and represent the colors of your school, their families and the coaches and everybody here. You want them to go represent the place with that much more respect, dignity, and honor. It's we have a lot to prove to people, that there are a lot of great things that happen in McKeesport, and it's not just what you hear and read about from time to time.
Charley, tell us a little bit about, hang on, about
There's been thousands and thousands of student athletes and well-accomplished professional people, professional athletes, professional people that have come through the McKeesport Area School District as graduates here. And if you're not from here, you really don't have an understanding and an appreciation of it. But McKeesport isn't always viewed by the outside community as a very favorable place. You're often told, there's comments, don't go to McKeesport at night, don't go to, we're not going to go to that ball game, it starts too late. There's just certain things that, you deal with it being an athletic director at a place like McKeesport, Aliquippa, some other places that, have fallen on more rough times over the last, couple decades that you don't experience if you're going to a more affluent community that's up and coming, some new housing projects, things of that nature, and it just drives you. It drives you every day. It drives you every time you go into an athletic event, and you just want that much more success for the kids because you know what they're dealing with. You know what's being said about them. You know what's being said about them by other schools and other communities. Now the internet's so popular, Twitter and all those different types of things. These kids see it, they read it, and you feel bad for them, but that's part of life and part of growing up too, right? Let's handle our own business. Let's approach things the right way. Let's create a new narrative for ourselves. Let's make them think differently about us, and that's really what drives me personally being in this role. We have a world-renowned midget football program here in town, the McKeesport Little Tigers. And a lot of times, no matter where you go in the country, if you have a T-shirt on that says McKeesport Football or McKeesport Little Tigers, that's a recognizable piece of clothing that, the stories that get told about when people are at different parts of the country about they come up and they have relatives there, or their father played there, their grandfather played there. So, that's been entrenched in these kids, forever. Some of these kids were born in when I started, which is, when you're thinking back on that time, and for a period of time, the seniors in school weren't that far away from me when I started here, as far as, the age of what I was and what they were. But, now there's a lot longer of a gap there. But it's still the same story. They understand that the opportunities of the kids that have recently come, that have graduated and been a part of the football program, that have gone on to places like the University of Michigan, drafted in the NFL, Khaleke Hudson. They've gone on to Iowa State University. They're playing at Youngstown State. They're playing at a lot of the MAC schools that are out here. Our coaches are some of those examples. Our quarterback from the 2005 team went to Princeton. There are great things that happen here, and football is a vehicle to kind of drive you into that realm, right? You're always being checked up on by your grades as a student athlete. You have a little bit more support in that way because sometimes you know that there may be a little bit more at stake. The kids don't always start off, doing great, phenomenally academically. But the time that they walk through the door here in August of their freshman year, that's the time where the clock starts ticking on them academically. And we try to give that message to them. A lot of times maturity has to play its course, for the responsibility to seep back in, to seep into them, to know what's at stake. Some kids get it and they start doing what they need to do right away. There are a ton of teachers and staff members here that will bend over backwards if the student shows respect and shows that they want the help, that they need the help. They'll make the grades. They do the work, they make the grades, they come to class. A lot of our kids' attendance is the problem. We need them to get here. But then again, there's some other issues that impact attendance. Maybe some of our players and some of our students are a child care provider for their younger siblings. We've had cases of that a lot. Helping out at home, single parent family at home. They're helping out at home a little bit more so than some of the other kids. So attendance takes a hit. Or maybe they were up a little too late because they were that child care option for the single parent family. So there's different stories that are being told on a daily basis with our kids here and how they're able to succeed and overcome those obstacles to get out.
Okay, recap, just because of that door, that was the best part, that ending part about how they see it as a negative and then they want to overcome it. Can you just say that part again? Because of that door.
Sure. So, our kids are constantly overcoming obstacles to overcome attendance problems, because if we get them in school here, we have a chance. We have a chance for them to make the grade. We have a chance for them to qualify to receive an NCAA scholarship or some other type of scholarship. We have an opportunity, but those obstacles to overcome, the attendance obstacles to overcome, sometimes are challenging. They provide. Sometimes for their single-parent families, they're providing things that a lot of normal families around the region aren't. So you take those things into consideration, and just to hit on again about our teachers and staff, if they attend class and they're respectful and they show that they need and want the help, they got a good shot. There's kids that have been mature kids that have come in here, started out a little slow, but quickly figure out that people are here to help them, and it's gone on to help them in the end. The needs of our kids in this community, we're 100% free and reduced lunch school district. Those are real numbers that come right from our demographic portfolio. We were presented an opportunity from Six Star Nutrition to come in and support our student athletes, to help them with nutrition, to help them with strength training, to provide cutting edge, real products that are on the top of their markets, to help our kids strength train. If you don't have a strength training program and you're not looking to build muscle and endurance and flexibility as part of the football team, then you're probably playing the wrong sport. So there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for the programs that our coaches offer our students in the off season. The football team lifts weights and strength trains January to May, January to June. They're practicing, voluntarily a little bit of that time also. So last spring, the Six Star Nutrition Program agreement that was brought to our school board of directors and unanimously approved to show their support for Six Star's support of us has been such an integral part for our preparation for this season and our preparation for seasons to come with the amount of product that they've given us in support. So forever grateful for their generosity to us. Yeah, so we have our expectations are high here. The community has high expectations for us. The families have high expectations for their student athletes. Us as administrators have high expectations. Our football coach is a recognizable figure in the community. He's one of the more important persons around here, the football coach and the football coach is. We all like to think that we play a part in that. So at the end of the season, when you may fall short of your goal, it can be disappointing. And last year's double overtime semifinal loss to Aliquippa was one of the more difficult losses that I've experienced as an athletic director here. We've been close before. We lost in overtime in the WPL championship in 2016 to West Allegheny. I think that was 16. I might have to come back and say that for you again. But in 2016 against West Allegheny, that was another hard one. But the loss to Aliquippa was very tough. We went down there and played a good game, had a good game plan for it. They're obviously a great program. They didn't miss any beats after our near victory against them. They went on to be the state champion. So you play that what-if game all off season. What if you would have defeated Aliquippa? You would have had an opportunity to avenge another loss in the WPL championship to Bell Vernon. We had lost to them previously in a regular season. They were a conference opponent of ours. We felt good about a rematch with them if we were given that opportunity, but you end up pulling for Aliquippa. It's a community similar to ours. It has a history similar to ours, with NFL players and successful stories that can go on and on. And we were pulling for them, but we wanted to trade places with them too. And they made some noise throughout the season, obviously, and ended up being the state champion. There was a little talk about where they were going to be classified coming into this year. So once you knew that they were still in the classification as us, we knew the type of team that we have coming back. We knew the type of kids that we had coming back into the program that were integral parts of our team last year that were only going to make this year's team better because of what they went through last year, they've been in the back of our mind. We knew that they weren't going to be on our regular season schedule. We knew that it's a postseason opportunity, more than likely, to see them again if we hold up our end of the deal, and they held up their end of the deal of being one of the top teams. And they are. They're seeded number one in the 4A playoffs that was just seeded last week. And, we're looking forward to, we're taking one game at a time, but we're looking forward to a possible rematch down the road. As cliche as it may sound, we have to take it one game at a time. There are still quality teams out there that can beat us if we have an off night. We have to respect every opponent, but we know that there's some schools out there that we'd like to get another shot at. Anytime you fall short of your expectations, it provides opportunity for people in the community, some influential, some not, to question job status of people, maybe even myself included. But specifically, Coach Miller went through, Coach Miller and I even consider myself, we all went through a little bit of a rough period of time after the Aliquippa loss. There was some political drumblings about, maybe moving on and looking for another coach. I vehemently disagreed with that. It was something that I felt was just kind of brought up based on passion. By the time last season ended, it was, close to Thanksgiving. The board meeting where, Coach Miller was not rehired was early December. So at that point, there was some meetings that took place between members of the board, central administration, myself, principals, about what the coaching staff needed to do to stay on some solid footing moving forward. And while it was comforting at the time to eventually get Matt rehired, our school district rehires coaches on one-year periods. Every one of our coaching positions are rehired yearly, annually, I guess you could say. So the situation that came up with Matt is not unique to others, but it was the most high-profile situation. So he wasn't necessarily fired for a job that he didn't hold yet. So the board was just reluctant on rehiring him at the moment, at the board meeting just right after the season. So we ended up, having enough support from Matt to have him rehired in January. He could probably take a deep breath for a week or two, but it was off-season time, and we had talked about the preparations for this team that we knew coming back. So while it was comforting to know that he was going to be the coach coming forward into this 2022 season, we also know with that comfort came the expectations of this team needed to still perform. And I think it's really important to characterize, this is still a high school educational athletic setting. We have to be careful with holding our coaches to expectations of wins and losses, because eventually you're going to have coaches that are circumventing systems and rules in order to win to keep their job. And I don't think that's the message you want to give to a coach, just because they didn't win a game or two that you thought they should have won. It's only natural for a coach to come back into a season and say, well, I know I have to win, let's just say 10 games to keep my job. I'm going to play the ineligible kid because I know he can win the game for me. So, you never want to get into those situations where you're evaluating coaches based on wins and losses and the amount of championships that are won, because I think you'll never win the end game of that, because our responsibility are to the kids and the families to go about our business and offer a program that's, academic and ethically put together strong. And that was my problem with it. We had folks that had an issue with Matt not winning a few more games than he should have, and I think that's the wrong message. If you want to talk about some other things, fair game, that's fine. We'll talk about some other things and decide whether or not they're worthy to be evaluating him on. But wins and losses, I just don't think have any place in being evaluators of high school athletic coaches. So the 2022 summer was a little breath of fresh air for us all, I think. The 2020 summer, the 2021 summer were, had that dark COVID cloud and all the restrictions that went along with that hanging over top of us. The 2020 football season was, limited capacity with seating, fans in the stadiums. That was a tough season, for the kids, seniors that waited all their life to play for their high school senior season, and to have the stadiums filled. But the 2022 season, again, the implementation of Six Stars Nutrition's products into our training regimens have been just a bump. It's been a boost of our energy and our passion towards strength training and conditioning and practicing, before the season. So, that kind of kicked us off on the right note. It was a good summer for us. We started construction a couple years ago on a brand new strength and conditioning facility. Hopefully, the finalization of that project is soon, and we're looking forward to continuing the partnership with Six Star with a new facility also. I think it was good to have some time off. It was getting close to the holidays. Thanksgiving time frame. It brought back some wounds when you turn on the television to watch the WPL championship. And at least until Aliquippa was stopped playing and won the state championship. You feel like that once the state championship game took place, you could then start to heal, right? Because you still felt like you should have been there. And that was a week or two before Christmas, and then we were all away from each other for a while, and then just like everybody wants a new start at the beginning of the new year, it was a new start for our football team too, and it was time to get back down to business and do what we needed to do to prepare for the season. And Coach Miller's been a breath of fresh air since the time that he's taken over here. He's brought some new wrinkles to the program. We've done some different things that are against tradition as far as some of our formations and some of our ways to attack certain things from an offensive standpoint. So those things are refreshing to the kids, and I think that with us being able to continue to do that, it'll only enhance his success here and to get kids into college and get notoriety for them and continue the great ways of our program. Yeah, it's been a fun season. We knew the expectations. You knew you had a great team coming back. I've always said to anybody that asked, we don't have the depth that we once did 20 years ago. We don't have 80 kids dressing for our team. We don't have 80 kids at practice. You got 45, 50. So if we're able to maintain, a healthy team, I think we would have a lot of success. Turns out we ran through a very difficult schedule, one of the most difficult high school football schedules in the state. I'm confident in saying that. We played the 5A state champion from last year in their home opener. We played the number one team in 3A, Bell Vernon, and they won our conference last year. We played a neighboring rival Gateway, which is one of the top seeds in 5A. So what all that meant is, how are we going to be playing at the end? How are we going to be playing in the postseason? Are we getting better every week? I felt very confident of that even after the next to last game. Substantial victory over Greater Latrobe at Latrobe. And then we went into a game against Thomas Jefferson, a perennial WPL and really a national power that, since we've been in a conference with them for a couple years, we've beaten them the last 2 years. We're 2-0. We were 2-0, and I think in our history, playing against Thomas Jefferson, the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars. And it was our last game of the season here, and there was a 10-0 record at stake for us. Thomas Jefferson, and I went to some people during that game, and I said, that's not, I don't want to say anything bad about any other school, but that's Thomas Jefferson over there. They're not going to go down quietly. They're going to come into this game looking for revenge. They're going to want to, supplant themselves into this picture of who the favorites in 4A were. And it turns out, they played a great game. Their coaches coached a great game, and they stuck it to us. So, as a result of that, we went from a school that deserved a top seed in the WPL tournament to the number 5 seed in the WPL tournament. I think there was a little bit, how can I say that? I think it was a little unjustifiable for a 5 seed. I felt we deserved. I felt like we deserved one of the top 3 seeds. The top 3 seeds received a bye in the first round of the playoffs. I felt by our non-conference schedule and the fact that we were 9-1 and we only had lost to Thomas Jefferson. I felt we deserved one of those top 3 seeds. It didn't turn out that way, but we'll know in a few weeks whether or not we deserve that top seed in the tournament. So we ended on a little bit of a sour note. We had some conversations with the kids this week to try to see what their mindset was coming off a loss, their first and only loss of the season. How are we going to react to it? How we react to it is going to be the determination for us whether or not we're going to be playing, into December or if it's going to be a short run. Honestly, didn't expect. I didn't expect the loss to Thomas Jefferson. I kind of had a feeling it would be a battle, a close game, a good game, and it was. And it turned out to go against us in our favor. But I feel like our kids are back in the right mind frame, and looking forward to the playoffs. We're a little over a day away, and the second season starts. And we'd mentioned high expectations for this team. And they remain high. You're going into the playoffs regardless of where we're seated. I expect us to compete for a championship in the next several weeks, and I think it would be another disappointment if we didn't. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow night getting off on the right foot.